Hey everyone, this is the screencast for the Movie Me app, which is the final project for CS 125 for the members Fanny Zhao, Sean Dukowski, and Sejal Saho. So the goal of the Movie Me app is to make an app which allows users to very quickly and simply search and find information about different movies. So here's the app right here. As you can see, it has a fairly simple interface. And let's say I wanted to find information about the movie Finding Nemo. All I would have to do is type in the name of the movie, click on the submit button, and that would send a request to our API, which would return information about the movie itself. All right, and there you go. Just like that, you can find the title, you can find a description of the plot, you can find what various genres are present in the movie, a rating, and also the year in which this was released. Looking at the specific API that we used, in our case, it was the movie database, or TMDB, whatever you want to call it, which essentially is a large movie database which allows programmers to access that information. Looking at how we can use it, it actually lets you try to use it, or gives an example of, or a demo of how you can use the API. All you have to put in is the API key. We'll put in ours right here. What language you want to work with, the query string, which specifically is the movie you want to search. In this case, let's say we want to search Finding Dory. The page of information you want to see, whether we want to see adult content or not, and other information or other parameters that I guess aren't too relevant. So now we can send a request. Here is an example of the query string, and it's similar to the past MP, which we worked with. And finally, here's the raw JSON, which has all the information we need, and which we can parse later on. So looking at the backend of our app, it was mainly done in two files, one being the main activity file, and the other being the activity _main, in which the majority of our UI was done. And with this setup here, we could put in different interfaces with which the user could work with and put in information. One being, for example, a text box, which was just a simple question. Another being a text box, which allowed the user to input what movie they wanted to see. Another being a button, which would activate the API and return information. And the information would be displayed in the scroll view type bar. And in terms of where the majority of our logic was developed was within the main activity Java file, in which we had three main functions, one being the onCreate function, which essentially connected the user input text box to the submit button and actually called the API. We had the start API call function, in which we sent information to the API and received a raw JSON output file. And finally, the get details function, which parsed the JSON file and gave us the relevant information. So looking at what issues we had during the development of the program, there were some initially with working with the API and finding the scope of the project. Initially, we wanted to work with the Spotify API, but we found, and mainly with music, but we found that that API was somewhat difficult to work with and had a lot of a steep learning curve. So we chose to go with something simpler, in this case the movie database, and also looking at rooms for improvement. There's always what we want to do is possibly for each movie return an image of the poster or possibly the actors or information on the actors and things like that. There's the option to make the UI more interactive and easier to work with for the user. Possibly showing more movies than just one, maybe a list of movies, and also perhaps, like our initial plan, to have a sort of recommendation app in which the user tells the app what genres it's interested in, and the app returns a list of movies. So yeah, we hope you guys enjoyed our app. Thanks.